Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in on this nice Saturday. I'm having some nice weather today. I cannot complain. Today, the temperature is predicted to be about 81, and I'm so glad that for those that are having snow and cold weather, I'm glad that the winter weather is on its way out. What roughly another couple weeks. And from what I understand, we're also supposed to be moving our clocks forward again. I don't know what day that's supposed to be. I'm not sure when that's supposed to take place, but I just want to talk today. I've got Jan from New York City Saves Money. I'm going to pull her in now, and I'm going to turn everything over to her, and I will allow her to go ahead and.
Hi, Steve. Hi, everybody. First of
Well,
all, I want to apologize profusely for this noise that just started worsening about a minute or two. There's some construction going on here. So I apologize. Hopefully, it'll die down. I just want to mention that Steve and I had the pleasure of being with Sensible Living with Money Mom. The other night we did a taping, and also Debbie from How Debbie Saves. And there's really a very interesting show tonight about money questions answered. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. The only thing is, I want to make it very clear we could not get to all of the questions. So the questions were picked and chosen and limited due to time constraints. But the questions that were picked and chosen were really good questions. So I believe you're going to get value. One more apology when you open the show to watch it, please forgive this noise. I have no control over it. When you open the video to watch it, there might be about a 10 to 15-second delay. Don't go away, just stay there. Then the show starts, and we all have a bunch of great answers to important questions. So I just thought that I would mention that. The other thing is, today is Saturday. And every time I think of Saturdays, especially while we're approaching spring, I start thinking about things like garage sales, flea marketing, thrift stores, and actually next week I'm raising my voice to because I'm competing with that noise. And thrift stores, I have a video about that next Friday. So, Steve, what are your thoughts about thrifting and all this and all that?
Let me bring myself back in again. How I feel about thrift stores is do keep in mind, once upon a time, I would gladly go back and do it again. As a side hustle to earn a little bit extra money. Um, I'm going to say this based on the TV show Sanford and Son. My father, and my mother lived that show, and I'll tell you why. Because we used to go around and buy stuff at yard sales, thrift stores. If somebody threw something away, found it in a Dempsey dumpster, whatever the case may be, I used to take it. I was good with like VCRs, changing the belts, cleaning the heads, stuff like that. Something minor, maybe a little bit of vintage electronics, you know, and I would take it and I would sell it on eBay, Craigslist. There was a little bit of a local paper around here that covered the surrounding areas that's no more because of so many changes on the internet. And I used to do that. So, of course, the flea market, I would go with my mom and dad. They would go and sell things there and do pretty well. So I'm pretty well versed when it comes to like entrepreneur customer service type business. I'm pretty knowledgeable about that. But I have to tell you, this is on a couple of instances when I went to thrift stores. One of the thrift stores I used to go to when I lived down south I left Jacksonville for roughly a couple of years. Um, my dad and I went to this Habitat for Humanity. Keep in mind, I collect music. I'm a music collector. So they had vinyl records in there for 25 and 50 cents a piece. So the time that I lived there, I must have walked out with a pretty good sized box full of records. Some were not even played, still sealed up in the plastic, which I still have. Then a little bit later, maybe a year or so later, I decided to move up to Kingsland, Georgia for a bit. And then my father and I, we used to like to go to this Habitat for Humanity. So I'm in UMAB Habitat for Humanity. I'm walking around. I'm looking at the CDs. I collect those too. The lady at the desk says, "Oh, by the way, we have some more CDs over there in that bin over there for 25 cents." So what do? I go over there. I get some CDs, 25 cents a piece. Now I only lived in Kingsland for not too terribly long of a time. And I must have walked out with a box full of CDs at 25 cents. I still have them. Now,
Oh, wow.
in the case, I don't know about CDs. I'm sure it has some value as well. But in the vinyl world, because vinyl has hit back, and I knew it would make a comeback. I knew that it would do that. My 50-cent record, I could easily sell it for 10 that's sealed. I make 9.50, but look at all that profit that's made. Not a lot, but look at all that. That's almost free money if you think about it.
Absolutely.
With the exception of the 50 cents. So, I've done that. There have been some. I do recommend people, if you want to go shopping for clothing, I would say a majority of your clothing, go to a thrift store, because you can buy a pair of Levi's for maybe $5, $6, $7 versus what, 40 or 50 in a department store.
Jeans went up incredibly, Steve.
Yeah, they did. And not only that, stuff that was found in, things that were people that threw away. And you and I had done videos about that in the past. It's
very, very interesting.
We did
Do
a
you
video
know?
about that. We did a video about that. I don't remember exactly when. It was sometime last year, about thrift store finds and things. And you had a list, I had a list, and we went over it. If I find it, I'll gladly attach it to here. So if you want to see it, but
Yeah. It was a great collab. I remember that. Yeah.
It was. Mm-hmm.
May I share something? When
Go.
I was thank you. When I was a school teacher, and to this day the legacy continues. When I was a school teacher, first of all, I'm not fond of math, but that's another show. But I am fond of the entrepreneurial spirit, because my grandparents ran a beautiful grocery store back during the Depression when other people couldn't do it, but they did. And I guess it's in the DNA. So just saying that, nothing like working for yourself, in my honest opinion. But I wanted to instill that spirit with my students. This was with my sixth grade students. What do I mean? We started the first ever student flea market at my school. And do you realize how many lessons? Here's what I did. I had a strategy. I had the students, I sent home a note for their parents,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the students' parents read the note if they were willing to contribute some donations of things like, clothing that they had planned on donating, or they just don't need in good condition, and this and that and whatever. And people were cleaning out their closets. They were so motivated. I did it in the springtime. They were so motivated. The kids came in with so many fun items. So with the principal of the school, we set up tables. We had a beautiful schoolyard. We set up tables, and the students were there ready to sell. Not only did they learn a lesson of charity, they learned a math lesson of how to exchange cash and give back the right change. There were so many lessons to be learned about working independently. They were so happy to go with their parents and look through their closets and think. It was just so many experiences. So what the principal did that day on the flea market day, and by the way, all the proceeds went to the charity of the school.
Uh-huh.
So that was, yeah, Steve, it was amazing. So the principal allowed every single class from grades kindergarten all the way to eighth grade to come one class at a time walk around the perimeter of the schoolyard and go shopping. We raised a sizable amount of money. I cannot tell you the feeling of satisfaction. So, what do I mean by now the legacy continues? Well, guess what? Now they have professional vendors. As a result of that, the school and the parish was inspired. And every week, these professional vendors, they rent their spot. And to this day, every weekend, while the weather is nice, they sell at their weekly flea market and the proceeds go to the church. So I can't tell you how many valuable lessons come from this. Even if you like, you know what, Steve, I want to mention about like garage sales and stuff of that nature. We could do the same thing on a tiny level when we hold our garage sales. So
Mhm.
maybe you want to have, like your family in on it and everybody gets some sort of a lesson learned. I just hope you don't mind that I mentioned this. I thought it was
No,
very
no,
valuable.
definitely get it out there. No, by all
Yeah,
means.
thanks.
Mhm. So we'll go ahead and pull me back in. Well, so you know, I do agree with this. It's an old saying. People, of course, things may be different now because, with times, but one man's trash really is somebody else's treasure. So you have to, that's why I say that people really need to investigate or look at before they decide to part ways with it, whether you're selling it, donating. Take a look and see what you have. Is what you have a donation item or is it a resale item? Do the research. It only takes about 5-10 minutes. Go to your laptop, computer, cell phone, whatever you have. Look at what you have. Type it in. Go to Google. Type it in. If you don't want to do that, go to eBay. eBay will give you an. I'll tell you what's good about eBay, and I do it even today. Go to eBay. Type it in. Go to completed items. That's things that have sold. When you go to completed items, you look at what's in green. What price that you see there, the price that you see is what it's sold for. That gives you an idea that if you ever wanted to sell it, what you could get out of it.
Absolutely.
So when you go to donate stuff out of your home, maybe not everything you have is worth donating. You may have stuff you want to hold on to.
Right. And also that we should always be mindful, us donors, of things to such wonderful organizations. If we're going to donate something, let it be of decent quality, not tattered, not ripped, certainly not dirty. Absolutely launder the product because it's just on too many levels wrong to be so thoughtless, and everybody deserves a chance. Thrift stores have helped me out. I have some pieces that I purchased at thrift stores even a decade ago that I still get wear out of today because I got some like really, good quality. I'll show you an item right now. I have it right in front of me.
Of
Whoops.
one, okay.
This is a pocketbook, a purse,
Okay,
and
you got a purse, handbag. Okay.
yeah, and it has so many compartments, and I forget the name. It's like a designer name in it, but I'm going to take a look. It's just the idea of the value. You're not always going to, people say, oh, don't go to thrift stores. It's nothing value. That's very wrong. The name of the designer is Leslie Fay. Leslie Fay.
I
So then
That sounds familiar. Okay.
yes, I did a research on it, and it has leather. And this bag retail value was $49.95 retail value. This lady named Jen paid, I think, $3 or
See, see? Okay.
I got
Yeah.
about, I can't tell you, about 5 years out of it.
But I tell you what, think about something for a minute. I know that you like the bag and all that. But think about this for a minute. Let's say, just figuratively speaking, the bag is in good shape. You've had it 5 years, but let's say, oh, I want something different. Okay, so you only paid $3. Think about the 5 years of use that you got out of it. So it basically paid for itself. So basically, the value in it you got your money's worth more or less. So if you really wanted to sell that bag, you could still sell it for 10,
Heck
15.
yes. But I have a little confession to make, Steve.
You could sell it for 10 or $15. You could still profit on it, and you still got use out of the bag. Most
Yes.
people don't post. Most people don't factor that in.
No,
I
you are right. That's something that I didn't even think about or consider. But I want to mention a confession to you. I have about 4 or 5 completely different leather bags that I spent not necessarily designer names everyone knows about, but leather, genuine leather.
uh-huh.
I have like about 4 or 5 of them stashed away for whenever I want to change. But some people change their purses often. It's too much work for me to keep transferring all the stuff every time. So then I don't do that. But who cares? Because I still have 4 or 5 good ones. Never been used a lot at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I myself, I haven't been to a thrift store of any type. I haven't been to any Salvation Army, Goodwill, Habitat, and so on. There's another one that I like over on the other side of town where my friend works over at a Dollar Tree. It is called AmVets. It has to do with the AmVet. I should consider going in there, maybe picking up a few things and try selling them on Craigslist. But I will tell people this, this as well, being in the selling world and basically in the same length of time that I was on eBay. You want to meet somebody at a halfway point, don't bring them to your house. That is a mistake. And I'll tell you why. I have been a victim of a robbery one time. I won't go through that again. Because when you invite somebody over to your house, you're letting them see everything you have. Guess what? They can go to a friend, that friend can go to another friend and no telling who else. And they can say, hey, I need you to go to this address. I found or saw this and this and that. When you're not there, your house gets ripped off. So be careful.
Good point.
That's why I recommend if you're going to sell something, meet at a halfway point, take care of the transaction, you get your money, they get their merchandise, you're done.
Correct.
Done deal.
I always, even my mom, God rest her soul, I always, if I did Craigslist, I always met the person publicly.
Yes.
But you reminded me of something, and I really need to do a show about it. I'm not going to get into it now, but it has to do with appliances and Craigslist. So thank you for the reminder. But I'm glad you did so well with all of your transactions, and
Oh, sure.
your experience growing up. It all makes a difference.
Well, do keep in mind, my mom was good about selling things. I mean, you're talking about a person who could sell an Eskimo an igloo and make him feel like he needed it. She had that type of mentality, if that gives you any idea. I'm pretty good at it as well. Of course, when I'm selling something, I'm going to describe everything about the item. I'll tell you something else I used to sell. I've got 3 of my own. They work, but I would love to take them to a person that knows how to service them and calibrate them and bring them up to spec. I used to sell reel-to-reel tape decks at one time.
Awesome.
And now at that time, I did have people come to where I live. And of course I would, talk about the features. I would play it. I would let them hear it, record, go through the steps. And if they wanted to test it a little bit, I would allow them to come over and that usually helped me sell it. And they're really and the sale didn't take too long because I was very upfront about everything. I'm not like most people, like when you go to sell a car, they're only there. People look at the shine when it comes to a car. Excuse me, but the paint of your car is not going to get you down the road. I mean, I could care less how a car looks. I'll be honest with you. If you don't have an engine and transmission that's in good shape, you got a problem because that's what gets you there. Yeah. So But I would, coming back to me on the tape decks and stuff and any electronics, I was very upfront with the way I described it. So there wasn't really, even they might have asked one or two questions, I answered it. And if they wanted it, boom, it was a sale. I got the money, they got their what they wanted. Thank you, have a nice day. So it makes me think of a time. I'm going to throw this in right here, and then if you want to bring this to a close, we can. One time I sold this one reel to reel. This was back in the early 90s. And I didn't, the guy, I was very upfront. I described the tape deck. It was one of the nicer, it was a TIAC. It was an X1000R. It's one of their nicer decks.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the early 80s, you can feel free to look it up.
Yeah, those are good.
The guy said, I'm going to go ahead and get this tape deck from you, and I'll take it home. And if there's something wrong with it, I'll be getting back to you. That's okay. I played his game. Guess what I did? I held on to his money for 30 days before I did it.
Good for you.
You want to play games with me? You're not going to play games with me. 30 days. So not only did I wait 30 days, I waited an extra 10. I waited a complete 40 days. Not one thing came back. And I knew he could not come back at me because that deck had nothing wrong with it. Nothing. Not in a mechanical sense. Now, cosmetic, it had its, because cosmetically things, slowly deteriorate naturally by itself. It can. So, yeah. But I did have some people come at me because customer service, people don't realize that's not an easy job.
It's not.
When they piss you off or they get under your skin just right, you have to know how to keep your cool. It's not an easy thing to do.
True. And what maybe our one call to them might have been their 15th call, and who knows what kind of people were calling them type thing. So we always, have to be mindful. Sometimes it's hard because you're having, I had a situation myself yesterday, but I'm not going to get into it. It had to do with cracked eggs. It's going to be a video, so tune into that when I talk about that too.
Oh yeah, I know the story as well, but I'll digress.
Yeah.
Just waiting. The only thing I want to say about that is when something, and I'm a firm believer in this again because of being in customer service and all that. Not always, but I would say a good 85-90% of the time, the customer is always right. Now, if you want to keep business, accommodate that customer. If they want a slight little incentive or a credit or so whatever you want to call, give it to them. Because guess what? If you do that to the customer and keep everything in good faith, they can send information over to their friends, say, hey, go to this people right here. They took real good care of me. They're real. Because guess what? If you treat the customer good, that customer in a chain link reaction type way, that information, word of mouth, it gets out. That's better for the retailer or the person that.
Absolutely.
So definitely people need to realize the customer is, because without customers, how are you going to make money? You can't. It takes customers, merchandise, profits, money, and so on and so on. No, I know all about how that works. Believe me, like I said, with all those years experience at the flea market and the selling in that little paper that I did and the eBaying, I know all about that. I'm very, 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 very well versed in that area. I really am. So, well, I'm pretty much out of topic. I don't know if you had anything else you might want to throw in.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that please do not dismiss the idea of selling stuff that you have to earn a little extra side cash. Right now, we're in extremely challenging times. Don't dismiss the 50 cents is that extra off of your whatever you purchase outside or the $5 profit you make from something.
No.
Everything adds up. Just put it away. consistently. Good things done consistently can only give you good results. That's all I have to say.
That's perfect. Yep, and that's absolutely right. So, um, I just want to mention, if I may, or if you want to say it, you you have a show. You have a show coming on tonight at 9 p.m. with you, me, Dawn, How Debbie Saves. That should be pretty interesting.
Yes, it was a pleasure and honor having you on the show with
Thank you.
Dawn and
Yes.
Debbie.
Hmm.
And just have to tune in 9 o'clock tonight Eastern. But I
I'll be here.
promise you, it's a pre-record, and that noise was not on it. Sorry. Thank you for your patience, everybody.
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude before that noise gets to me any more than it has. And I will see you. I don't know yet. I may have a bonus upload, maybe, possibly later today or tomorrow. That again, it's a 50-50.
Sounds good to
Otherwise,
me.
be on the lookout. Recipe Tuesday, 6 a.m. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye bye, everyone.